This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. We are going to take a moment. Many of them, as a matter of fact. We suggest you do the same thing and reflect on life and yourself. We're starting with self-reflection today. Have you done it? Why would you want to do it? What's the benefit of that? We're going to dig into that and so much more. She's got decades of experience helping people with leadership, coaching, moving their life forward, and this is all part of it. Self-reflection. I don't think I've ever done a podcast on this. I'm wondering how she's going to define that. Her company is called Realize to Win. Gayathri Riddhi is with us. Tell me I said that right.
I'm going to make you feel good about it, Steve. So I'm going to say you did it good. No, yes, I'm Gayathri Riddhi, and
Gayathri. Okay, got it
yes,
now. Yeah.
And it is, I know you have decades of experience doing podcasting, so I feel honored we are touching on the subject of self-reflection for the very first time. So, and it's such an important element of keeping our mind centered. So I think it's a very important topic. My coaching has shown me this. My life has shown me this. Throughout every lesson I've learned, self-reflection has come through as a critical element. So I'm looking forward to how we're going to talk about this today.
When I think of it, this is how I'm going to define it for me. And yes. I don't know if it's defined by each one of us individually, but it's taking time to look at how you think, to look at your life situation, just taking time to reflect. Where did I come from? Where am I? Where do I want to go? Now, I'm a big proponent of living in the moment, but your past kind of dictates your future. If just don't get obsessed with that.
Yes.
But I wonder, how do you define self-reflection?
You touched on something, Steve, which is we are so unique. How we look at the world is going to look unique. And so self-reflection, how we go about the process might look differently for different people, but there is an undertone of an element that I do want to bring to you. Self-reflection is giving ourselves so much grace and having zero judgment. So you touched on things that we learned from the past, right? So it's self-reflection is you're in the moment looking at what has happened and making sense of whatever it is you need to make sense of, while giving yourself grace and not judging yourself for it. There's a lesson in there that the self-reflection will show you. So you're taking that little nugget with you to the future and living in the moment. But the element of lack of judgment, which is so difficult for so many of us because we are conditioned through our entire history to judge ourselves and others, that is the element that's going to make self-reflection something other than anxious thoughts, a rumination of something or the other that creates a sense of worry. It's not necessarily solution-oriented. True reflection is very growth-centric.
Would you say that it's more of an analyzation of your past, just looking at it, not doing anything with it, just looking at it, and maybe also looking at how you're reacting to it? Like there's one particular situation in my mind, impactful in a big way in my life, and I'm kind of just letting it go. We're all good now. We're all moving forward. Yes. I could dig into it and all of that. It gets you nowhere. So why even bother? But I think you need to self-reflect to process some of this stuff.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It absolutely, you're spot on. And so that's the part of self-reflection where you're right. There's a little bit of analytics there where you're looking at what is the pattern I demonstrated and what is the pattern I can take away that is different. So we are going through this entire exercise. So if we are encountering similar things, we respond differently. So that is the part where the growth is. And the processing of it does not necessarily mean sitting in it and feeling bad about it. It's essentially you're observing what happened. You're almost an observer of what has happened as events of your past and going, okay, this happened, this happened. What is my part in it? What was the contribution of everybody that was involved? Now, what is my takeaway? What is the lesson for me? What's the opportunity for me? And then moving forward with that. So self-reflection, as I was sharing, is so growth oriented because you're not staying in the past. You're looking at your past and taking your reflections and lessons without judgment and moving forward through your moment of today.
I almost got to download a visual of this where the what you're reflecting on is the game that's going on, and you're flying over the bleachers and you're just kind of looking down. Oh, that's how the game went. Well, that's all right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. When I'm watching, I'm not big into sports, but if I'm watching a game, take away my man card, by the way. I could be the only man that admits that.
Listen, you can't be saying that. You're in a man club too.
Yeah. But you're watching a game at home or in a stadium.
Yes.
You can't do anything about it. You know, your home team is losing. You're not going to run on the field. Hey, wait a minute. You guys are screwing that up. Wait, no. Wait. No, it's over and done. Or even if it's in real time, you can't change it. So for me, it's like flying over, looking down, seeing what's going on, placement of everything down there, and how I'm going to react. If it was a real game and your team lost, how are you going to react? Maybe you made a bet. You have some money riding on it. Can't change it. It is what it is. You lost a lot of money. Maybe that's the case. What are you going to do? Nothing. You can't do anything. You have a choice of how you're going to react to it.
It's a choice. You're spot on. It's a choice. There's another element you just brought up, which is the emotional component of it. So if you're passionate about something, if you feel very strongly about something, you are going to recognize that's just how our body is been created. We are meant to have emotions, and those emotions are information. It gives us signals. It tells us something about how we are operating. So yes, you have emotions, feel it, but then make a choice. Are you going to live in it? Or did you recognize and process the emotion and move on? And you spoke about the observation, but you touched on something else too, Steve. I'm not sure if you recognized it. You probably did. You're also speaking of detachment, right? So it is recognizing what's happened, knowing the emotion of it, then detaching from the outcome. That's going to keep you in a healthy space because you have seen the signal of your emotion. You recognize how important that is for you. You process it and then go, okay, what can I do about this? Nothing but take the lesson. You detach. So it keeps you in a central, almost balanced space of how you navigate life versus getting pulled by what's happening around you.
I would imagine that you have to process or properly process before you detach, because if you don't, you detach, but you didn't fully detach, and you need to just, kind of go through the motions and give yourself some grace about the situation, but then move on. Because once again, back to square one.
Yes.
Ruminating in it, not getting you anywhere.
It's not getting you anywhere. And again, we have to recognize, though, that some of us have trained ourselves to ruminate. If we have either learned it from somewhere or we have created a pattern, and that's what's happened to us our entire life.
Some call it addicted to suffering.
Yes. So there's a little bit of a training ground that we have put ourselves through to train ourselves to be in a certain space. So, and we are all in different spaces of growth. So some of us are comfortable there because that's just how I am. That's how I have always been. And there's nothing that has created a sense of a need to change, right? Then there are others who have reached the threshold of, this is too much. It could be anything. It could be some event happening. It could be something that's a threshold. It could be a physical that you went and took and your blood results don't look right. Something creates a scenario where you now have to look at how you've been operating and go, okay, perhaps I can do something differently. And that's where that shift happens. And when you get to that, the important thing is not to judge yourself for what you have been doing. Just recognize, good job, you've reached the recognition point you need to shift.
You said the blood thing. I don't know if I ever shared this with you,
No, you
but,
haven't.
and I'm going to laser this down, but take away my man card on this one too. Always been afraid of blood tests, routine blood test. It would come up, all right, it's got it scheduled for next week, going to the lab. Now it's the day before. I'd be like, yeah, I just change it. And I wait another week and I just change it and I wait another week. I don't know what it was. I was just always afraid. Not afraid, but just, am I going to pass out? Now I'm thinking about it. Now I'm worried. My blood pressure going up, all of that. Where I got to the point, call it different mindset, rewire. And this is in the last year where now it doesn't bother me. I don't even care. I actually laugh at it. Like, I wonder how much that's going to hurt for that split second. And then I'm done. And that's it. And then I had a little health thing come up, like 6 needles in one day, no big deal. But it's the mindset. And it is I'm bringing this up because you mentioned blood. It's amazing how you can change your mindset and do almost a 180. And then it's like refreshing how you feel like a different person.
Yeah. And it's sometimes very small shifts. And I'm a big proponent, Steve, of taking small steps. Because sometimes when you think of this magnitude of large changes, that in itself is going to make us go, it's too much. I don't think I can do that. So if you start giving yourself little doses of change, so everything is a milestone of progression, and also giving yourself grace. If you've taken your entire lifetime to train yourself to be one way, chances are you're going to slip up here and there. You're going to fall back because your nervous system is used to something else.
Yeah.
You have already synapses connecting in a way that is used to smoothly going this way. And now you're saying, no, build another bridge. I want another bridge, right? So that entire process has got to be completely attuned with giving yourself grace for a slip up, recognizing and saying, okay, all right, let me keep going. The intention, I think the nutshell of what you said, Steve, is you made a decision at some point that you are going to look at it differently.
Yes.
That's the nugget. That's the core of it. And that's what self-reflection gives you, is you suddenly observe yourself. And the whole intention is not for you to become someone else. It is truly to become who you are by removing layers that maybe you got trained to put on. And whoever that is, be okay with it, because there's the other element of comparison to others. So self-reflection asks you to look at yourself, just you, and be the best of you. So not necessarily be that person, they're ahead, they're behind. None of that matters.
Comparison steals joy. With what you just said, so impactful, as is everything you say, the looking at the incremental changes, I think that many of us don't. Like, if you look at your life, the last 6 months, probably a lot went on, a lot of changes. Instead of looking at 1 month, oh, look at me, yeah, I'm not where I want to be. I haven't done this. I can't do that. If you look at it as its total sum, it looks totally different, and you see some progress there.
Yes, and that also takes that mindset of looking for what is it that has gone well, because the world we are living in today definitely highlights what's going wrong more. There's so much, and there's absolutely so many instances where as human beings, we could be operating differently, just navigating life differently. It's a fact. However, in the midst of all of this, there is also opportunities for us to see what is going well, and focusing there to broaden that and make that more of a bigger picture. So the more we focus on all the negatives, not to say we shouldn't, because only then will we be able to make a difference. We also need to be spending time expanding what is going well. And that starts with us. If all we notice about ourselves is where we went wrong, that's what we'll see in the outside world also. Where are things going wrong? Because we tend to want to mirror the world. So again, bringing it back to self-reflection, it is almost helping you cut that tie for the need for external validation. Because once you go inwards, you start recognizing you really, really may not need all the things that you thought you needed for your being healthiest.
So self-reflection,
Mm-hmm.
what do we do? Obviously, it may sound self-explanatory, but is it come down to, the process? And is everybody different? But
Yes.
and are there some things that you can suggest that we do?
I can absolutely suggest, but the underlying piece is it's absolutely going to be unique for you. And what we are truly doing with self-reflection is creating space. And what I mean by creating space is before we jump into anything, we are stopping. There's a pause that happens where we go, let me truly look at what happened. And not with a projection of what I think happened, what I wanted it to be, what I feel like, what truly did happen. And that there's an element of critical thinking there. There's an element of taking away what you prefer to truly looking at what truly happened. What is my contribution? No judgment, right? Because you operate in whatever way with the best of what you know at the moment. So it's like looking at it in that pause without judgment to go, what exactly happened? And self-reflection absolutely is looking at your patterns of the past so you can come back to your present, not live there, not feel bad about what happened. There's just literally observing and then detaching and recognizing these are the nuggets that I can take now to operate differently, because there has to be a purpose to it.
Would you say, if you're going to self-reflect, well, first of all, even before I ask that, how often should we?
Based on what I recognize, Steve, it's infinite. You should be self-reflecting every moment of our
Hmm.
awake space. Like when we are awake, we should be, it creates an intentionality about you. So there's an awareness of what you're doing with self-reflection. So I say that to say I coach, as you know. So I have and I have been in leadership development for a very long time too. So my essential approach is very much bringing whoever I'm working with back to self, because every single one of us has so many different pathways that got us to where we are today. And there's an element of come back to self and recognize the past, not staying there, recognize the past and how do you move forward. But one of the pieces of that is also getting to the point of what is going to be your best way to self-reflect. So there are people some of us who do not want to sit an hour and meditate, and they don't want to go somewhere to meditate, or they might even believe, may not be exactly what is happening, but in their mind believe they don't have time for it because they have a full workload. They wake up and it's like children, husband, family, wife, parents, work. And there's so many reasons why not. So before anything else, the first piece is decide. Decide you're going to self-reflect and recognize you don't need a special time for it. You don't need an event for it. You don't need a special room for it. You don't need music for it. It is you building a relationship with yourself.
Now, we've said a number of times with self-reflection that we're looking at something from our past, a situation, and kind of just analyzing it, cutting us some grace there in terms of realizing it. Is it also about now? Is it, reflecting
I love
about
that you asked that.
the moment?
I was going to get us there when you asked it. So sometimes I wonder if you read my mind. No, I
Likewise.
wanted us to get there because yes, there is. As I was sharing with you, if you're living every moment self-reflecting, there's not a history, right? We are self-reflecting in the moment. Yes, as you start, there's going to be some element of it that you're going back to figure out and see and observe and reflect. And in some cases, we may have some kind of scenario that's happening that for us to make sense of it, you have to go past and look. But if we are working with ourselves as we are going through intentionally every moment, you're constantly reflecting. So intentionality comes to play. So if I am responding to you, so however you're speaking to me and I'm responding to you, in this moment, I'm fully aware of what I know and how I want to express myself. So if something is off, I'll immediately go, how can I say that differently? Right. So there is a moment to moment
Mm.
intentionality to it. And that takes away, and that may not happen for everybody overnight, but you eventually do get there if you keep practicing that self-reflection. Because the idea of small steps applies to this too. So when you start, you might think of it as an event, self-reflecting. It's an event. I need to go somewhere. I need to be in the quiet and solitude. You can be in the most crowded rooms with a lot of whatever happening, and you can self-reflect because you are truly speaking with yourself. You're looking and observing yourself.
Hmm.
And it creates an awareness within you that helps you be more intentional as you navigate life.
I see this in a different way.
Tell me.
I'm taking a few days off. I rarely do. I've been talking about doing it since December. 6 months
Yes.
later, I'm finally going to take a few days off and just to do nothing. Like literally self-reflect. Just take some time, some great books. I never have time to read. I never make the time and
Mhm.
just reflect. That's it.
Yes. Yes.
Ground everything. Just it. I'm going on a
Yes.
Steve retreat. That's what it
Yes.
is. I
That's
don't need
that's
anybody.
what you're doing. You're absolutely
But but
you're
this is the
resetting.
resetting. Thank you.
You're
Um,
resetting.
but but my mind thinks of reflection of that's how we do it. But you're presenting it in a much different way and an important way where every moment you should be self-reflecting. I got to make a decision in 10 minutes. Let me reflect for a moment. Let me check in with self. What am I thinking? It's almost like you're checking in with yourself.
Yes. And we touched on it. So I'm lucky enough to have conversations with you multiple times at this point. So I know a little bit of histories with
And
you
she's
and
like,
I.
he is really weird.
No, I wanted to, the point I wanted to share, Steve, is there is what I have taken away is you are a very busy individual. You have a lot of, your life is full. So there are times when your nervous system is craving for a reset. So I am really glad you're going away and giving your nervous system a reset. And yes, part of that reset is you're going to have moments of reflection because suddenly you have given yourself space for it.
Hmm.
And that is how you have navigated your life. And that's what I was saying. Everybody has a different approach, right? Some people go, 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 and then they hit burnout and they're like, I need to take a break. That is how they operate. Perhaps they think at that time in their lives, that's the best way to operate. They may reach a state where they go, you know what? This is not good for me. I need to do something different. That's the pivoting moment. And for you, this is going to definitely help you reset all what you've shared with me. You taking time off, you reading, you're going to have space to think finally, right? All of that is going to truly reset you. Perhaps one of the decisions you're going to make in that resetting is now going forward, I won't wait for an event to give myself this reset.
Truth.
I'm going to create an everyday moment for a reset. So I can tell you, Steve, like I know you shared with me, you took a moment to walk out and ground. That was a reset. That was a reflective moment. That was a moment where you spoke with yourself and you went, I need to give myself a time before I start the next thing. So that's the other thing that I did want to highlight is some of us think of it as an event, and some of us think we are not even doing it, and we are.
And it needs to be
Anytime,
intentional.
yes. And sometimes we're not aware that we're doing it. If you've ever gone, wait, pause, wait, I didn't come out as you're doing something, you have that, did I come off right? You know, that voice that asked you, did I come off right? That's a self-reflective moment.
Mm.
At that moment, you may make a choice going, now I'm being silly and move on. Or you may go, no, I don't want to deal with it because I feel bad I did that, and then go on a different tangent. Or you may go, okay, how could I have done that differently? Let me pause, let me reflect.
You need to be in the habit of doing it.
Yes.
So here I am. I've waited 6 months, longer because I haven't been away to do it in a grander scale. But even on a regular basis, I think this is what I've
And
gotten from
maybe
you.
doing it already and not even recognizing that you are, like the fact that you went out and grounded yourself, that you did something for your nervous system.
So here's the thing. I don't do that a lot
Oh,
because I am busy and I forget, this is ridiculous, how impactful 10 minutes of standing under a tree is until I do it. It's like, I feel much better. I
yes.
forget. And that's on me. That's my self-reflection moment in the last hour that, yeah, do that more often. Forget about, invoices and paperwork and all because it makes such a difference. And that's what you do.
And if
For
you
that.
do that, when you get to those invoices and paperwork, you won't mind doing it.
This is the truth. This is the truth. How do we find you? If somebody wants to just figure this all out, somebody walk the journeys, whisper in their ear, you need to self-reflect, whatever it might be, how do we connect with you?
You can have a complimentary session. If you come to my site, it's www.realize2win.com, and I'm sure, Steve, you'll be providing that visual somewhere for the listeners. I give a complimentary session, which I believe is so important because when it comes to leadership coaching, any coaching, life coaching, you want to have a good level of dynamic between the person who's helping you and yourself, because the whole experience of coaching asks you to become uncomfortable, to become vulnerable, and truly determine how you want to operate and go forward. So all your masks start falling down, and you have to build that level of trust that this individual who is my coach, their only purpose is to help me. Without judgment. And that takes, not everybody is ready for it. Not everybody gets that with a specific person. So I believe it's very important to find the right combination of people. And so, yes, there's a complimentary session to experiment and see if this is the right fit. And if that's the case, then I can be a coach.
Thank you for saying that, because others may say, yeah, just sign up complimentary consultation and we're all good, blah, 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 blah. You're saying that be prepared. You have to be who you are. You have to mask down, embrace the discomfort, because that's the way it is. There's going to be no real breakthroughs unless you do.
Yes.
So, and it's not that, don't scare anybody. This is not like, horrible situation you're going to go through. No, but it's, but somebody has to have faith in you, but ultimately they learn to have faith in themselves.
Yes.
And that's what's missing in most of us. Yeah.
Spot on. Yes, Steve.
Always wonderful talking with you. I guarantee next time we get together, I'll pronounce your name properly. Getting closer. Always love what you offer, and your transparency and realization. And I will be thinking of you when I self-reflect and some of the stuff I learned today. Appreciate it.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
We'll
you
catch
for
up next
having
time.
me.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.